ready? All right. We just mentioned about all this change now, right? And the last thing we look at is the change, for people. So how are we going to do it? Right now, there are some very standard method to help people, to make the change. So what we call this is called, the name of it is called organizational development, OD. So we are not going to use the word change if people get scared about it. We're just saying that you have to develop yourself. Develop means what? You are going to make a better of yourself, right? So is that a change? Yeah, that is. So it's a change method that focuses on people and the nature and the quality of interpersonal work relationships. So quite often that if you want to make change, yes, you can change. But more important thing is that how you're going to deal with the others. Because the change may involve interpersonal relationships too, right? Now, here are some of the very common technique. If you are going to work for big corporations, and when you are new, they probably would like you to go through some of this training. And some organization, they will conduct this kind of training when the company is making any major changes, or they have restructured the organizations. So in other words, is that let you to get to know each others. This year, I don't think you really have an old camp, right? Right? I mean, old camp is fun. Really, don't miss it. So next time when you get a chance, go back to the old camp. Actually, one of the, I would say that best thing of going to university, first thing is enjoy the old camp, all right? Now, actually, why they have developed this kind of practice is say old camp, and the objective is very similar to what we call the organizational development. And that is let you get familiar with the environment and find some friends in the school. Okay, now, so what are the general things that will operate in a company? I know I'm not going to go in detail, but I will let you know that these are some of the techniques that you can have. And these are actually part of the helping you to make the change. One is sensitivity training. Sensitivity training, for example, put you in a group of people that you don't know. So in other words is, make it simple. Chinese will say, when you are new, some of you will, what the Chinese say, they will 怕醜, right? So sensitivity training is that put you in a situation with a group of people you don't know, so you get used to it. Yes, because when you are meeting a lot more, I would say that stranger, you will get used to it. So next time when you are seeing a new person, you'll be able to walk up and talk to a stranger without any concern. Actually, this is also one kind of training that we give it to the student when they are, in a year 4. That is, you have to learn. That is what my boss told me when I was working in a private firm. Saying that you have to train yourself. You can walk up to anybody's and start a conversations. Why? Because, in business world, you don't know, most of the people are not you are familiar with. That you're going to learn to deal with new type of, characters. Second is survey feedback. Now, this one is survey feedback is that to assess people's attitude and perception, to look at what are the discrepancy, means the different, and reacting the different by using survey information in a feedback group. Now, so this one I think is make it simple. Actually, is doing some survey and give you some feedback on how well you are doing. Now, I know some of the banks, if you're going to work for them, at the beginning, they will give you a survey questionnaire asking you what you think about yourself. Are you easy to deal with for a stranger? A lot of questions about yourself. So are you friendly with people? Can you work well with the others? All this. They will give this survey to your ex-managers or ex-colleagues and your friends. You can give them the name and they will send the same form to let's say that your friends, and to fill it up. And of course, in your form is asking you, don't you think yourself is friendly? But in your friend's questionnaire is, don't you think this person is friendly? And what happened? After you fill it up and your friends are already filled it up, they do the comparison and show it to you. So you look at it, I think I'm very friendly. All my friends coming back and say I am not friendly at all. Then you say, oh, this is how people think of me, So this is a good way to give you the real feedback. Because, try to ask your classmate, are you friendly? What your classmates say? Of course say yes, right? You're a nice person to work with, of course they say yes. But, turn around, they say, too bad we are in the same project group. Right? People will not say that. But if you are anonymous, like doing some survey, people will be a little bit more honest and saying that, who you are. Now, because we see ourselves from our point of view, but others will see us from another point of view. So when you look at a survey, then you say, that's good, because other friends are giving the real, comment for us. Now, so that is the survey. The other, process consultation. Now, process consultation, of course, you're going to hire someone from outside. They are professional in this, and they will give you some feedback on. In Hong Kong, this kind of process consultation is very expensive, and usually, it is work on the company base. Company will hire someone, to do the consultations. For ourselves, this is really expensive. Except you are going to be a politician or movie star. They probably, you will have your personal trainer. The other is team building. Now, team building means that let your team member know each other. Some company will have this so-called retreat, and it's kind of a game that you all can play together. The objective is getting to know your team member. Now, so actually, I'm quite excited about coming back for face-to-face class. I don't know how long this is going to last because, middle of the night, the president is sending me another email and saying that, things may change. We'll see what happens, But I'm glad that we get a chance to see each other. Actually, most important thing is that I hope today you get a chance to meet your team member. When you see them face to face, when you get a chance to talk to them, that is a very important thing we're saying that is the team building. Actually, do you know that in the in-class exercise, my first class, I have a little exercise. And that is a very good one is, some will call it ice-breaking games and get to know your team members. That is a games that we can play with so we get to know each other. But the problem is we don't get a chance to play with the game because physically you really don't get a chance to see them, and that lost the purpose of the game. But in the future, if we really get a chance to see each other, in a whole group, I will still consider playing that games again. All right. Now the fifth one is intergroup development. That means that changing the attitude, stereotype, all this. Anyway, don't worry about the wording. That the group will have each other. So in other words, this one is you already have, a group, but you have to deal with the other group members. So that means that two groups, if you want to work with each other, how you're going to handle it. This usually will happen in organization, which is from different departments. Because quite often, organization will have conflict is, we always say, oh, the finance department is so bad. Oh, the accounting department is so mean, So they will have some technique to help you that to get to understand different department and how you're going to work well together. Now, so these are some of the examples that I gave out that company will have. But more important thing you will ask, so this kind of training, how they train people? Basically, what is the concept of, this may be different method, but what is the concept of training the people? Well, we just start coming down to look at this. Whatever method it is, the objective is to make change, right? So how are we going to change them? This time the first word is not and, because we are very finished and, but we have to help others to work on the word and. How? We do really want to see why people resist to change. Now, if you just say, hey, Old people don't want to change. Then we cannot change old people, right? They are already old. The question is that what are the things that why people don't want to change, and that's what they're scared of, and they don't want to do it. Now, number one, uncertainty. We are scared of uncertainty more than anything else, even we know there is disaster. Now, you say, are you sure? Yes. There are research findings. Uncertainty is the most threatening thing in our life because we don't know what is going on. Now, let me quote. Actually, this is from a medical doctor's research. All these doctors say, let's say if the patient come in and say he is sick, so of course medical doctor will give you a lot of the patient a lot of tests, right, to find out what's wrong. Now what happened, he's saying that is that is what the doctors statistic prove. After the test came in and the doctor cannot figure out what is wrong, what will happen? The patient is very stressful because they're saying that I am not feeling well, but after all the tests, the doctor cannot tell me what's wrong. That means, what should I do? In other words, is that what is my next things to do? Is there any cure things? He's saying that most of the patients, when they see there's nothing wrong, they are more worried. Now, compare with, they're saying that some people, when they get sick, they see the doctor look at the medical research and all the tests and find out, sorry, the patient get cancer. So they will tell the patient that cancer. You will expect that the patient will be, very upset. You say no. Usually this patient, if they know what are the sickness they have, they will be a little bit more quiet, and then the next thing I will ask you is, can it be cured? So in other words, we are facing uncertainty. Why we are scared of it is because we don't know what we can do. If it is a problem, at least we know there is a problem on hand. We can think of how do we going to deal with it. So uncertainty, it is very threatening to people. Now, so later, these are some of the ideas, because later on we have to think of, if people are so scared of uncertainty, is there anything or any way we can deal with it? All right. Now, next thing is the comfort of old habits. Am I correct? Because why we like old habits? Because we don't need to think. Why we don't need to think? Because we don't need to make decisions, right? Last time we did it, this time we do it again. We don't have to reconsider it. And also, old habit also means what? No uncertainty. Although, you may not like it, but you're saying that, hey, forget it, just continue doing it. Because less uncertainty, that means less risk, and you're familiar with. Now, the other one is called the concern over personal loss of status, money, or blah, 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 whatever. Anytime when we are going to tell people to change, usually what come up to the people's mind is, if I'm going to change, what I'm going to lose. That the lose here may means that, oh, you put me in another group, then are they my friends? And if you're changing them to anything they aren't, really think of is, what are the loss of it? Now, actually, honestly, you're saying that, is it change is that scary? Huh? Is this change is that scary? Let me ask you, going for vacation, is it a change? Yes, right? You are happy about it. Promotion, is it a change? Of course, you're looking forward for it. Now, so change, usually, if you know it, there is no uncertainty. And also, there is no personal lose, right? Going for vacation, yes, you're happy about it. It is a change. So, personal lose usually is what people worry about. If you give up one thing in order to get something even better, you will miss it. Housing supply in Hong Kong is very difficult, right? So quite often they like to have some survey, ask people, because they got a new government apartment already. Ask the people, are you happy that you get a chance to move in the government housing? Most of the people will say, yeah, finally, but I sure miss my neighbors, right? Yeah, it is true. You have a better apartment, but you're saying that, oh, I miss my old house, although it is ugly and, falling apart, but we miss our, old neighbors. That is what is personal lose. People think of the negative things more than they think of the uncertainty, the benefit that they have. Now, the last thing is the perception that change is incompatible with the goals and interests of the organizations. Now, what does that mean? Let's say you're working for the company as a worker, and now the organization is having a new machine to do the job. Not that they're going to fire you, but they were saying that now we have a new machine. You can go and operate the machine and you still keep your job. We make it easier for you. What do you think? Most people will say that good, you have a machine, it's make my job easier. But sometimes people thinking is beyond what you are imagine. Sometimes they're thinking, this is incompatible to the goal. Means what? The worker say, before I use my hand to do it, I am in control. But now, if you have a machine, then the machine will do it, and I can only turn it on and off, and I don't have the ability to control it, and they feel sad about it. That's the reason they don't want to do it. So, incompatible with the goal and the interest, that means that workers have their own goal, have their own perceptions, which is quite different from the company. The company will think, I give you a machine, make your job easier. You are thinking that you give me a machine, now I lost my control. Well, that is incompatible. That means that they are not the same. All right, now, so these are the fundamental reasons why people are really resist to change. Can we do something about it? Let's see. But first thing you have to think of, if you want them to change, they probably will think of, what is there for me? Why do I have to change? So what is it in for me? That means what will be the benefit that you offer if I'm willing to make the change itself? Now, so what are the way we can do it? I have 6 suggestions here. Let me tell you, very useful. Practically, when I make changes, or you can see that how organization or even government make changes, they will make use one or two of this technique. Now, what are they? Here is the table. I know it's difficult to read, but let me use my my way of explaining it, make it more practical, all right? Because my feeling is we are not going to have an exam, so you don't need to memorize it, right? You can open the book and look at it. In real life, it's the same thing too. When you're working, if you have some problem, you still can have a lot of search for information. You don't have to memorize it. But the important thing is that you have to understand it, so you know when to use which one, all right? Now, the first one is called education and communication. What do you mean by education? Educate them how to change? Yes, you can. Communicate, tell them what to change? Yes, everybody know it. But exactly what is that mean? Now, the exact practice means you have to, don't just suddenly give them, tell them what to change. You do need to gradually telling them. So in other words, education means what? Not just going to school, but it's saying that, for example, you have some public announcement. We are going to change soon. And when we're going to change, and they're giving them some information. So let them know all the W word, what, where, how, and when. So this we call it, so education means what? Mentally prepared that we are going to have some changes. Now, another thing is, it would be good if you can have some kind of debate or discussion. Now, that is important because when you make some announcement that you're going to change, People always think of the bad things. So you want them to think of the good things too. So you can think of the debate that, why we want to make this change. What are the positive and negative things? Because all the change that we're going to make is not going to be perfect. Probably there will be some good things and bad things. So let them think through it. So debate, I think that debate sounds like we are arguing, but actually mentally it is helping, because let us, seeing things in both sides of the coins, Now, so-called education and communication basically is saying that, give them more information beforehand. Next one is participation. Now, participation means that get them involved in the change itself. You say, yeah, we all know this word, participate, get them involved. Exactly why get them involved? Mental concept is, I like to use this Chinese wording. Participation means what? 拉埋佢落水. In other words is, we are all in the same boat, right? So if I tell you what to do, you probably, usually the boss tell us what to do. We don't like it. We say, I want to make sure that it failed, to show that the boss, hey, you're wrong suggestion, right? But if you like it, of course, you're going to support and do it well, right? So participation actually here means that I want you to participate and give me some idea and suggestions. So if it is your suggestions, or you can contribute to it, would you like it to be success? Yes, right? Because if it is the boss say you don't like it, you want to make it fail, but it is also your idea, you will hope that you want to be success. More, one thing is also important is, if they make the suggestion and success, what happened? They get a chance to share the glory, share the success. The project worked well. Yee, I have contributions to it. This is what I suggest. You feel proud of it. If the boss suggestion you didn't any contribution, even the project was successful, you don't feel that, rewarding feeling, because it is not your idea. But if the project failed, what happened? You say, I don't want the project fail. So sometimes even you are participating in a decision, you make the wrong decision, what will happen? Although I know it is wrong, but I'll try whatever way to make it successful, right? Why? Because you are the one also contribute to it. No, so that is the wisdom of the participations. Next one is facilitations and support. Now, facilitation means that giving them all the necessary equipment, knowledge, whatever they will need to make the change successful, right? And support. What is support? Now, support here means that it is true, the first time you do it, you may make mistake. That's always the case, right? That at the beginning we are not familiar with it. So support here means that if they make mistake, don't ever punish them. And actually, instead, you want to share. You say the good learning. Let's share together, what are the things that it doesn't work so we can improve. So facilitations and support can be talking about the equipment or the machineries, but also, on the practice that they do. Negotiation. Now, what does negotiation mean? Now, negotiation here is not talking about whether you do it or not. But negotiation means that we can discuss about the progress. Now, so one thing we were saying that negotiation means a more flexible attitude. In other words, is we're going to make the change. We know it's very risky. We don't know whether it's going to work or not. So don't worry. If things really not going to work, we are not going to push the change, or we will change it a little differently. So that is what we consider as a flexible attitude. You cannot just say that do it or die, then people will really have the pressure. Now, second, you have to tell them, what do you mean by change attitude? Means that you are willing to modify whatever the change is going to be. If you will tell them that you are willing to modify, then people will be more willing to, accept it, right? Because with whatever party are not happy, there is some negotiable, and try to make sure that this kind of negotiation is ongoing. So that means that it is not one time or two times. Anytime the things are not working well, we can discuss and do it again. But we like to use this word. I don't know whether you know this English. Put one foot in the room. So in other words, I'm not sure I want to join this club. You open the door, you're saying that, let me put one foot in and have a look at it first. You're saying that, yeah, you can. If you look at it and you find that you're comfortable, you're willing to, come on in and, join the changing team. But if you are really not happy or comfortable with, I would let you, wait for a little while or, change your attitude later on. So negotiation basically means that we're willing to change and we want to take it slow. Now, so far we talk about these 4 techniques, and they are very positive. And I would say, yes, very useful. And they're saying that, right now, a lot of situations, that we are using exactly the same technique. Now, actually, I was thinking of, what about this time school's decision on face-to-face and online? This is a decision. This is a change. Did the school doing it well? Because I am also the victim too, right? The whole summer, I'm trying to learn all this new technique, and they just install it. And deep down in my heart, I would think that the school did a very good job, because at the beginning they already told us, and then they would give us a lot of training, and they give us a way, practice, and then we make the announcement, and then we tell the students, that you have a choice. So I think the school did do a pretty good job. The only thing I think is that the school have a little difficulty in purchasing all the new equipment, because of this program and all the cameras, those, and install this plastic. They did it at the very last moment. But overall, I was saying that the university did a pretty good job, and because the situation changed, is not much the university can do, that maybe change things will get worse, just keep announcing it. All right. Now, if all this, positive techniques we are doing and still not working, what can we do? We like to start positive, right? But if things not working, then we will go and look at the other one is called manipulating and to co-optation. Now, that means kind of like we are moving to the politics, right? If I can't tell you, you are still rejecting it, the only thing we can do is that to buy it off. Now, what's buy it off? If you reject it, can you have a leader come out? I will want your leader to join my management team. So in other words is that, come on, have a representative come to join the management team and see how we make the decisions, right? So this leader will be able to see that when we make decisions, we are not only focusing on the company's benefit, or sometimes it's because we have no other choice. This is the best choice we can have. So that is the way we call it. Buying out means that, accept those people who are strongly reject about the change, or the leader to come and join, the management team. So to give them more information. Now, if that's still not working, the very last thing, of course, is the cohesion. Cohesion means that you really have to get rid of them. The reason is because we call that those are bad virus. If you keep them, they'll start spreading outside. But of course, we try all the way to use the positive method first. All right, now, so these are some very successful and good methods. But of course, we're saying that all methods will have their advantages and disadvantages. So you have to understand both sides. So when a situation come up, you may consider which is the best method or which are few methods you have to use together. Because usually we're saying that, the first 4 is continuous. You start to give them information, promote them, helping them. At the end, negotiate with them. Now, but all this will be really depends on the situation. Actually, managing of change is a very interesting topic because it's not just management. You will see that that you yourself may be facing a lot of change. When we got ups and downs, and we have to use a very different method, to help people to make the change itself. But we only have one chapter here. I cannot go into too details. All right, let's move on. We have some of these kind of suggestions, right? Next thing is, now here are some examples to look at big companies change. This one is from Walt Disney. Now, Walt Disney in the past, Walt Disney actually is the founder's name, right? So when Walt Disney started up with the Disneyland, he was the only one who managed the company. And he is the one that, who make all the decisions. After he passed away, then there is some, new managers is taking over. So this new, the company looking at the new managers was quite unhappy. Always saying that, oh, we like the good old time. Walt Disney, actually, he himself is better to make all the decisions. Don't we sometimes hear that, We always think that the old leader is better. Now, but they understand that Walt Disney will have to go to change. And new managers have new ideas. Because Walt Disney in the past, why they are successful is because of the cartoon. But in the later stage, they have to think of is entertainment. 2 more weeks we talk about strategy. We'll use that as an example too. So Disneyland making a lot of changes because of strategies. Then you need a different kind of management, right? Different kind of technique. Because Disneyland, from having the cartoon stage, moving on to focusing on little kids. And later on, nowadays, they are not focusing on little kids. They are focused on entertainment. So it is a very different strategies. So those people at that time, were saying that, oh, the good old Walt Disney, I wish that they were here. The company is not doing well because the owner passed away. We always think all that. Now, so how they are going to change this kind of, attitude? Now, this is an attitude. So changing attitude is difficult. Disneyland consider they are hero worship of the founder. So if the founder not there, that means that all the decisions are not good, or the company is going to the wrong direction. What happened? Michael Easton, he is at that time a new manager. What he did is he reassigned, and replaced many managers. What happened? He's saying that if you really don't like the new manager and I don't think that it works, he actually make it simple is get rid of them. So as a result, many of the new managers, most of them had never met this. In other words, is new managers. So they don't have that what we call the old baggage. What we call the 過往嗰啲負擔. So they are new. They will start up with the new culture. So that's what Disney did. At the end is we can not call it is punishment, but we're saying that if nothing works, they have to use the so-called cohesion, technique. Okay. After all this, let's go and have a conclusion. We say that, well, in real life, we learn about some technique. How are we going to execute it in the real business world? Now, here are some suggestions. One we want to look at is how we're going to lead the change. We have to start out with something, right? We have to lead the change. And second, we need to create a culture that people are willing to change. Because if you don't have the cultures, that means that nobody wants to end. Then they go back to the old habit. Now, in your textbook, we talk about the third one is employee stress. Because if you want to make change, there will have some stress. So, but we are not going to cover that in these subjects, all right, because it will be too long. Start up with, how are we going to lead the change? First one, link the present with the future. That means you do have to let people know why you want to make the change and what we are going to achieve in the future. In other words, at least you have to tell them, that, hey, if we don't make change, what will happen? Now, second, make learning a way of life. Nowadays you heard of, right? Lifetime learning. All the university and then, mention lifetime learning. Why? Learning is not one stage of your life. It's saying that, it's continue in your life. Yeah, it is. There are several things I still remember when I was in university. But the management I learned 30, 40 years ago, some of them are still true, but some of them not anymore because of changing environment. So there are a lot of things we have to continue learning. And actually, you look at your textbooks, it is what? 14, 15 edition. I like to go back and look at the, first few edition of that textbooks. A lot of concept and idea is quite different from nowadays, So basically, we have to continue doing the learning. Actually, learning is not really that bad, make yourself more updated. So you have to create this one as an atmosphere in the company. Actively support and encourage day-to-day improvement and change. Now, change you don't have every time have to make a big change, but a good way to do it, actually even for your own self-development, is after you finish doing something, instead of just saying, oh, I'm so glad it finished, you have to think of, this is a bad experience. What should I do differently in the future if this is going to happen? So in other words, use what happened in the past as a teaching material for you for the future. So this is a very good way, to improve yourself. So, not just a big change, but a little bit improvement. Improvement is a change, all right? Ensure diverse learnings. This one is saying that when you are going to develop yourself or learn, try to be in more different directions. I don't know about you, but I myself, I'm not good in science. I'm not very good in mathematics and all those things, And I really think that, some people have the talent in science. Some people have the talents in music or, arts. But they said, again, those professionals say, smart people should be good in all aspects. That is really called smart people. Otherwise, you are not considered as smart. I was really questioned about it. How can you be good in science and you are good in, literature and all those? Now, but when you are going to look at in the past, all the successful people, they are actually is all diverse. Now, diverse here actually, can you train yourself? Yes. So some people will always in the past thinking of, I am only good in math. I only work on my math. The other thing I don't care because I am not good at. They say that is not the right attitude. The more you diverse your interests, the more creative you are in the future. Why? Because creative actually is not really from nothing to something. Actually, is you stimulate your thinking. You bring one dimensions of knowledge into the other one. In the future, if we got time, we'll talk about, a lot of creativities. Actually, this come from, two very different dimensions and created, right? Couple permanence with perpetual change. That means don't change everything at the same time, because that will be quite stressful. It will be good that you're going to make certain change in one time and then make others. So don't change everything at the same time. It will be stressful, all right? And support an entrepreneurial mindset. Now, entrepreneur, this word means what? Being creative and new. So I would say, make it simple, is create a curiosity. We want to find out anything new and be interested in it. So this is not we can tell you to do. It is a mindset. So just saying that, oh really? What will happen? Curiosity actually is a very good motivation to learn, because you have the interest to find out what is going on. All right. Now, next thing is, if you want to lead the change, you have to know very clearly whether you are the leader or as an agent. Because as a leader, you are involved in it. So you have to be very transparent, open, to let people know why you make the change. Otherwise, people will think that, why you make the change? Because it's benefit for you. So if you're going to explain that, the change is for everybody's benefit for everybody. Now, as a change agent, it will be a little easier. A change agent is that you just make the change and you leave. You are not involved. So most of the time, people will see that you don't have a personal interest into it, less bias. Now, one more is giving individual employee a role in the changing process. In other words, is what? Let him participate. Now, the participate not only in decision making, but also is talking about that the continuing changes, involving in the technique itself, involving in assessing the end result. All right, now, so this is looking at the leading change. The other one, the very last one we want to look at, is changing the culture. Now, the culture here is involved, that one, dramatical crisis. Have to understand the situational factors. Is it a ongoing one, or if it is a very drastic one? If it is drastic one, probably we'll have to think of, another way to make the change. And I'm keeping an eye on Cathay Airline right now, because Cathay Airline really have to make the major change. I wonder how they're going to do it. Someone is suggesting, since people cannot go for vacation, cannot take airplane, right, to go out of the country, how Cathay is going to make money. And someone is suggesting Cathay will let people get on a plane and just go around Hong Kong and then, and land. And I was thinking that it is possible, because that means that a lot of time people just enjoy taking an airplane, but they're not going anywhere. They don't have to go for the 14-day quarantine. And the question is, that the opposite party will think they are wasting energies, because you are going to buy the gasoline, burn all the energies for no reason. But I do think that Cathay, this idea is okay, for entertainment. As long as someone is happy, you cannot just say wasting it. The latter is leadership change hand. We believe, again, that new leader will make change easier. Why? Because we think we know it, and we expect new manager will have a new technique of doing things. So we expect something new is coming up. Have you heard of the Chinese saying, 新官上場三把火? All right. So when a new manager come in, he'll be more excited. He's going to do something different. So when there is a new manager come in, we're saying expect that major change is going to happen. So a lot of times, if change doesn't work very well, they change hand. The leader change hand. Disneyland in the past, the CEO actually was doing very well, but this year he quit the job. The reason is because Disneyland is facing a lot of problems, and Disneyland need to change. Now, if they have the same managers, probably will be difficult. So, if the old manager resign, the new manager come up, then they probably will expect Disneyland is going to have a big change, because it needs new managers. In other words, is that let the workers, be prepared and meet their expectations. The other thing is the change will be much easier if your company is very small or very young, or they don't have that much culture in the company yet. This is the reason we say big corporation, when they make change, is very difficult. They will usually almost like break the whole thing and redo it again. But for small company, this is not really a big concern. So they will be looking at, whether you are lucky or not. The last one is from the textbook about how you're going to manage the changes in the culture. I'm not going to go into detail with this because next week we'll be looking at organizational culture, and then we can apply the change in there. All right. Any questions? No. Now, next week we have the last case is talking about making change stick. So again, for the online student, you have to submit it in the Microsoft Team 2 days before the class, so I get a chance to read it. All right. And if you are come to class, then you read the case and you can discuss in the class yourself. Because I encourage, discussion may stimulate your thinking. Because I find that in Microsoft Team, if I look at the first few students answer, everyone will almost follow, because I'm sure that you look at what other student did and then you make your own. So you are not that creative and you don't have your independent thinking. But if you are doing discussion here, you don't see that, there's some, what we call that, example for you to follow. And actually that is a better learning. All right. Now, so, but before you're going on to the discussion for you, I already upload your team members' name, your team, into the Google that file. You can go up there and have a look at it, and so you will be able to see who are your team members. Now today, before you're going to do the discussion, I hope that you're going to team up with your team member if they are here. If not, then you will just go and randomly select some of your classmates and do the discussion itself. All right. So it is up to you whom you want to team up with and do the discussions. Let's see now what are the topics, because next week you have to come up and tell me what are the company that you would like to do your project on. So let me close this one and see if I have to. Do you have that yourself? So I don't have to jump here. Otherwise, I will have to redo the. You have the file. You have that copy. Is the group project presentation topics. It's in the Moodle. I updated already. Find it. Otherwise, I will have to stop sharing. Not this one, the one that you're looking at. Okay, let me see. I have to. I'm still not very familiar with it yet. Not PowerPoint. Desktop. To go to the desktop. All right, here. No. Do you see the team topic you have? So I don't have to show it here. You see it? Now, so if you see it, then you can look at the team number and look at the topic that you are having. All right. Now you look at the topic. Now this topic is not fixed, but my word in bold means it is set. Now, for example, team 1 and team 2, you have to do a project in Go Global. Now, in the past, I give them the topic Go Global, and the students say that, so what you want me to do? So if you need more guideline, then I would suggest that you go and analyze a company which they go global, or, you know, that anywhere you want to look at where they go global. And then you're going to come up, you know, let me know the company name, all right? Because each tutorial group, you can only use one company. I don't want you to, you know, everybody working on the same company. So you have to decide which company you would like to work on. And next week, I will ask you, what is your opinion? Because I may give you some advice. Some company, you know, on a certain topic is very difficult to do, or it is beyond your ability. So I will give you some advice. So my suggestion is select one or two company that you have in mind. I would say the best is, you know, come up with 3 company, your first priority, second, and third priority. And then, you know, we can do some discussion on, you know, which company will be best for you or easier for you. And also, you know, looking at the direction, okay? Because I don't want you to start up with the wrong direction and then later on I'll complain you are not doing well, all right? So because doing the project actually is not just for the, you know, you gain some marks, but it is a learning process, all right? Okay, now, so how are you going to do the projects? Now, I already updated, this is the outline. Basically, I want to go down to the group projects. Now, right now, we are going to have the group projects. You will have to submit the outline. The outline, if you are online, you have to send it to me. But if you are coming to the class, I will discuss with you on your project outline, all right? And then you're going to have the report. So we do away with the face-to-face presentations. The group report will be around 2,500 words. Now, because this group have 40 students, so we are even, all right? Because other groups, you know, they have more or less member than 4, then will be depends on the class, but you have no problem with this group. I would suggest you're going to look for a medium size of company based in Hong Kong, have to be in Hong Kong, all right? I don't suggest that you're going to look for a very big corporation because it will be very difficult for you to do it because you don't have that enough, you know, I would say knowledge and background to do so. So avoid. Actually, we and our other teachers also mentions that don't do McDonald's, Disneyland, and all this because these are too big and too difficult for you. So I would suggest a medium size. Now, if you are going to look for a very small size, you don't have much to write, right? 2,500 words is quite a bit, you know. So if too small company, you don't have enough information. Too big company, you just, you know, beyond your ability to do it. So make sure that you're kind of medium size of company. Now, the objective actually is, I want you to write your own case study. And I want you to analyze your own case studies and give me the suggestions. Basically, that is, you know, the objective of doing the projects. You know, I can write you a very fancy case and you look at it, but you know, it would be good that you do it yourself because when you start working for an organization, when you start working, you are the one facing the situations. So use that as a situation that you face and make a case out of it and show it to me that how you analyze it. All right. So actually the whole project I was looking at is your analysis and your recommendations. If you're going to, in the past, some of the students just give me the whole company's background. Then you haven't, the company background, you don't get marks on it. I just look at your analysis and your recommendations because that is the critical point. So you're saying that how are we going to do analysis based on what you learn or what you read, okay? Now, next thing is the topic I already mentioned, give it to you. And one company is allowed to study only one by one group, no duplications, all right? So I think that next week is week 7 and lecture 6. That's why I was rushing, to do the grouping. I was hoping that right after you finish your ad drop, then it will be good that you will start grouping and thinking of the project, So right now, I think that we are all settled unless I make some mistake, okay? Now, the project outline is, if you are online, submit your project outline to me 2 days before the group consultation day. But if you are coming to the class, then you just go on to your project outline and show it to me and we will talk about it, together. All right. And you can attach your project outline together with your final report at the end. Now, the reason why I want you to show me your project outline is I want to see that if you are focusing in the right thing. So in your project outline, all you need to tell me is your title of your group project. So if you want to make any modification of the topic, as long as, like, for example, Team 1 and Team 2, your company have to talk about global. So I don't care what you're going to do. You're saying the global to whatever country or whatever company. You can make your own focus. You can have your own title. So you can let me know the title of your group project because that tells me what you are planning to do, all right? And give me some company background because I want you to start working on it. And tell me that what are the area for investigation or what type of management issue you think they are having. No need to recommendation or nothing. We start out with is looking at what are the problems, all right? Then, later on you can write any, then you can look at, your alternative analysis goals. But for the project outline, it's just want to know that, what are the area for investigation that you would like to do. Okay, and it's 4 students in one group. That's true. Yours is easy. The written report, the outline is you will have a cover page, some introduction and company background, right? Now, don't give me a lot of information. When you are thinking of the company background, is you ask yourself, the reader, will they understand if they don't have this information? So in other words, you provide the reader the minimum information that they need. So in the past, students would just copy the annual report, some of the things, if you are not focusing in the finance problem, you don't have to tell me the finance problem, the background, because that is not a necessary information. You don't want to, use up a lot of word on the company background. Now here is these 2 is what I will give you marks on. One is the analysis. Describe and analyze the management issues related to your topic. Now, your analysis, you have to, for example, you can be saying that some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them is fine. Whatever answer you want to give me, make sure that you have a reason to support it. I don't particularly care whether you are there saying that they're right, wrong, or no problem. I just want to see what makes you think that, why you say that, all right? And your next one is your recommendation. Now, honestly, my experience is recommendation is a very short paragraph. Why? Because, our analysis is a very long one. Recommendation is sometimes it's very short. Now, so when you get down to the recommendation, don't stress yourself saying that it need to be 2 pages, right? Because that is the key part of the grade. No, recommendation actually is quite straightforward. Analysis is the one is long because you have to justify and explain it. And your recommendation, I usually will see the logic. In other words, if you say this is a problem, your recommendation is focusing on the problem, then it is considered as a good recommendations, all right? Because in the real world and looking at the futures, who knows, what is right or wrong. But I want to look at it if it is a logically present. And of course, you have conclusion and give me the reference because I do that all the time. First thing, I look at your reference. And then I go through your reference and see what are the information that you collect from. Because that tells that how is your, group projects, quality. So I will look at the reference first when I'm doing the grading. All right. Now, you say that where your information can come from. You can collect your information anywhere from book, chapter, copy, whatever. Now, we are so concerned about plagiarism, right? So if you really want to copy something from what we call secondary data, that means that, other informations, make sure that you tell me where the reference. If you want to copy sentence to sentence, you can do that, but put a quotation on it. That means that, like whoever said this, you put a quotation there. That means that you copy it out and put a bracket and where it come from. I do not reject students by copying something if as long as you acknowledge the owner. All right. Now, of course, not copy the whole paragraph, right? Copy a sentence and copy some concepts. Yes, you can. All right. It's just a matter of honesty. That if you copy it, you say where it comes from. And so information where you got it, you can look at anywhere from book, newspaper to on the website, anything. All right. Now here is how I'm going to assess your projects. Really, we have a marking scheme. So the most important thing is that make sure you're trying to apply some of the management theory and concept to show that you learned. And also, I don't expect that you're going to give me something more advanced in the management concept because, I know what you learned and I know you're year 1 student. So I will assess it based on what you already learned, that's management theory and concept. Now, but if you want to use a little bit more from reading, then of course you're welcome. Now, the other one is evidence of critical evaluation. That means you can say anything you want to, but why you say it. In other words, it's your evidence. Evidence is your logical explanation. Is your justifications. All right. So all this is actually already had it at the end of your project, your module outline. Now, when you submit it, you have to email it to me because it's private. This is your file name. So, for example, Mgt L5, this is a group 11, right? And what is your team, whatever team it is? That is your reference, the title, all right? Now, if you don't type this, I have so many email every day. If I'm not familiar with the topic, I delete it because I'm so worried that it is a spam mail, all right? I just recently got another spam mail. It tell me to buy cards, Actually, the email is sent by my head of department. And later on, just tell me to go to buy some cards. I don't understand. Later on, my friend told me that is a spam one, So make sure you have the right title. Otherwise, I will assume it is a spam mail. I will delete it. Okay, now I hope you are not going to make late submission because your submission day is your class day. Like when is your deadline is Monday, 12 o'clock. All right. So I would exactly tell you the deadline because you have holidays. So most likely your deadline will be let's say, the deadline is supposed to be I have it here. Week 12 or week 13, because you have one holiday coming up. So you will be behind the schedule. You will be hitting on the makeup class that week, all right? But, anyway, you will know it because you have to follow the procedures, step by step. But, when I tell you week what, and then you probably get confused, is it Friday or Sunday or whatever? So the best way to do it is, to be fair, is everyone will be hitting on the end of your class time. And you also have to submit your written report to the very guide. Now, after you submit it, depends on the system. Very guide can be very, very busy because this is a worldwide system. I remember that during May this time, all the university in the world, students are submitting the assignment, and all of them are submit to very guide, and it takes a week for the result to come back. So you don't have to wait for the result to come back, and I will look at it myself later on, because if you are lucky, they will give you the feedback in few hours. If it is that traffic is busy, it will be coming back in few days. And the longest I experienced is a whole week. So in other words, is don't copy others' documents, and then you don't have to worry about that how many wording are similar, because they will highlight the wording that you copy from others. I do have to physically look at it, because if you use simple sentence, it's very easy that it is a copy one, because I study in Hang Seng Yu, everyone write the same thing, is it a copy, So I will not just look at the number, because also if you put a quotation in it, that means you honestly say you copy it from somewhere, so it is fine. So I will not be able to tell you that what is the number of similarities, but I will look at it myself, because they will highlight it and that where the source you got it from. All right, just beware of this one. I just let you know. And you will have to have the peer evaluations. If you have no problem with your team member, then it's okay. You don't have to submit it to me. But if you say that you have problem with some of your team member, they are free rider, send your peer evaluation. And if possible, give me the evidence. So I will look at it. Like I said, last semester, I have 3 students that is free riders, and I think that 2 will fail and 1 got D. Now, if not, then if there's no problem with your team, everyone share the same grade. But if someone have problems, then I will make the adjustment myself. Because like last semester, so 1 student only write 2 sentences in the whole project. And I don't think it is fair that, he share the same grade. All right? So this is the option. Now, here are all the assessment. Again, that telling you how we do the evaluations. Any questions on this? Any questions? Okay. Now I have to go back to my Microsoft Teams and see. Hi, Robin. Oh, okay. Oh my God, it's almost 12 o'clock, huh? Well, in this case, did I yak too much this time? Okay, how about this? The case, I will save it for next week to do the discussion, all right? So I will see you all next week. All right. Member in the online team, please say goodbye to me. I will take attendance one more time.